Hi everybody, welcome back to my pregnancy update. This is week 32 now. So this week has been a bit kind of up and down, to be honest. On Monday, what day is it now? It's Thursday now. So on Monday I basically started, well, it kind of started over the weekend, to be honest. Over the weekend I had a really bad headache, and I'm used to headaches from not being pregnant because I suffer from migraines quite a lot, but touch wood, in pregnancy I've been so much better than I was last time with Isla. I got a lot more headaches with her than I have with this one. But yeah, I had this really bad headache all weekend, and I had kind of, I mentioned it before in these videos, like the kind of twinkly stars in your vision, or lights or whatever, spots, whatever you want to call them. That was from having low blood pressure. You know, if you get up too fast and you're a bit like, ooh, and dazed. But because I had a headache, I was getting, and the lights kind of changed from sparkly to flashy, and then my right eye blurring up, which is really strange, really strange. Never had anything like this with Isla. And I also was getting swelling, which again I didn't get with Isla, and the weather hasn't been that great. It's really nice today, so it wasn't to do with the weather. It was really cold when I was getting the swelling. My legs were swelling up, my hands didn't swell up, but my face got a bit swollen, kind of around here. So basically I was like, oh, and my mum was here, so I was a bit like, should I go to the midwife, shouldn't I? And then my headache got worse during the day at work on Monday, so I was like, I'll go. I called my mum and I was like, what do you think I should do? And she was like, well, I'm here, so just call them and see. So I called my local maternity centre that I have my midwife appointments at, and they said to call the hospital instead because they didn't have anyone that could see me there. I think it was towards the end of the day on Monday. So I called up the hospital, QA, the one I was admitted to at 22 weeks, and the one where I had Isla, and she said she'd go call someone and then she'd get back to me. She was checking whether there was a community midwife in the area to save me having to drive round in rush hour to the hospital. But then she called back and was like, actually, we do want to see you up here, we want to get you monitored and this, that and the other. So I went up, got seen really quickly, although I went to B5, which is where they told me to go, and then they sent me to another ward, and I was kind of like, and then they weren't expecting me, and it was just there. But when I eventually figured out who I was meant to be seeing, I got seen pretty fast. So I got hooked up to the CT monitor, the, you know, the two things that go in your bump, and it does a trace of baby's heart rate for about half an hour. My pee was tested, and that came back with protein in it and white blood cells. So they were asking me if I had any symptoms of a kidney infection or a urinary infection, and I didn't. So they were like, that's interesting. And then I had blood tests as well, so they came back really quickly and were really good, like fine. That was the reason I didn't get admitted, because I almost got admitted, but because my bloods were all right, I managed to convince them to let me go home because my mum was going the next day as well. So I was just, oh, and I'm at work, and yeah, so basically in my blood some form of protein showed up, and it could be something to do with my kidneys. I've had problems with my kidneys in the past, but they can just, like, the levels weren't high enough to warrant any sort of worries. That's fab. And what else? Blood pressure, obviously that was the main thing they were checking, and they said it was elevated for mine because mine's usually really low, so it was elevated but it wasn't high in terms of other people, sort of thing. But they were concerned the fact that it was high for me, if you know what I mean. So again, that was a bit like, oh, should we keep you in, should we not keep you in? But baby's heart rate was fine, so that was good. And movements were all right, because movements had been a bit more slower and more muffled, and I put it down to baby not having as much room, obviously, because they're getting bigger. But the midwife was like, no, you should still get the same level of movement, just a bit more, what was the word she used? I can't remember what word she used, my brain's not working. But basically they weren't very impressed with my answer, so I had this little button that I had to press every time baby moved, and obviously it would show on the trace thing as well. So in the end they were happy with that, so that was good. That was Monday, and then on Tuesday the reason they let me go home was if I agreed to be monitored throughout the week at the local maternity centre on this side. So on Tuesday I worked from home because I was still feeling really rubbish and I couldn't shake the headache, and I was still getting like the weird vision thing. Although when I woke up on Tuesday it was quite bad, but by Tuesday lunchtime it was a lot better. And then I went in for monitoring that afternoon for a little bit, and everything seemed a lot better. Pee had cleared up a little bit, there was still protein showing, and they sent it off, but the white blood cells were down or something. Blood pressure had come down a little bit, so that was good. And yeah, so that was Tuesday, and then they asked me to come back in again on Wednesday, so I got monitored, all the same things again on Wednesday. And I was actually having a growth scan on Thursday anyway, because Isla was born with cystic hygromas. They want to check this baby more for delivery, because if if the baby obviously has a large swelling on their neck or anything like that, you're not supposed to give birth naturally, which I did with Isla because I didn't know, or nobody knew that she had it. So they were checking for that anyway. So the fact that I was getting that done meant that the midwives on Wednesday were happy for me not to be seen with them again till next Tuesday. So that's when I'm seeing them again. So the growth scan went really well. Baby, because they mentioned as well at my Wednesday monitoring that my bump was measuring small as well. So they were quite glad I was having the growth scan. But again, they said that the growth scan, technically my measurement's quite small, but the baby's measurements were all right, like on the small end of the little scale thing. I've done a separate video on the growth scan, so I'll pop the link below if it's up already. If not, I'll come back and link it later. But the measurements were okay, and the neck looks clear, so that's fab. I'm so happy. I don't think I realised how much it was weighing on my mind until they did turn around and say it's clear. I just felt like, oh, like thank goodness, because Isla is completely fine. Her cystic hygroma for the past little while hasn't bothered her at all. It was more of a bother in the beginning when it was really big, but it's kind of sorted itself out. So I wasn't bothered about the baby actually having one. It was more just for knowing for birth and delivery and everything. So, but it's just a relief. I mean, it's not a guarantee that the baby won't have it, but it would have been a very small chance of it having it again anyway. Like Isla's was just a complete fluke, so that was that. So I'm feeling a bit better. The vision's cleared up a lot, which is wonderful. Still getting headaches, but now the weather's kind of hottened up again, so I think it's probably more to do with that, even though I drink a lot of water. But I'm maybe not getting enough nutrients and things, like enough fruit and veg and things like that at the moment. So I will try my best this week to up that. But apart from that, just normal, really. Good movements now from BB. Tired, but it's life. I'm 32 weeks pregnant and I have a toddler and I have no husband around at the moment, so yeah, that's it really. Let's find out what baby's up to. So here is baby looking like a proper little chubby baby now. Baby is 42.4 centimeters long, 1,702 grams. I think I have an actual estimated weight from my scan on Thursday, and it's 1,600 and something grams. So the little update thing on my phone is talking a lot about movements, because it's like I mentioned earlier, they're saying that even though baby's room's obviously a lot smaller now because your uterus only goes so far, apparently baby's movements will gradually increase week by week now. They'll just feel different. Saying about they shouldn't reduce at all, like, because obviously a lot of us just tend to think that. So any reductions, you have to go see your midwife. It says baby will not run out of room and will continue to move all the way up until birth. The fetal position is now becoming a familiar position for baby because it's preparing to come out. I know for a fact that my baby is head down, which is a lot earlier than Isla was. Isla was back to back for ages, and then she finally went head down I think around 36-ish weeks. Baby can now use all 5 senses and is busy looking around, grabbing things. I saw my growth scan that baby was playing with the cord with its foot. It was really weird. It's tasting its amniotic fluid and it's busy listening to all of us. So listening to me talking, listening to Isla, listening to whatever else is going on. And that's it really for baby. So we'll look at bump quickly. I've got my highly attractive jammy bottoms on with the normal top, just to be nice and comfortable. So yeah, I don't know if there's been much change. It kind of feels more sticky outy now. I still keep saying I need to take my belly button piercing out. I think I will do that tonight. And here's bump from the front and bump from the other side. So thank you very much for watching. I can't believe I might only be doing like another 7 or 8 of these. That's mad. So yeah, crazy. Anyway, thanks for watching and we'll see you next week for the next update. Bye! Hi everyone, so I am back at QA again. It seems to